Well, hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we've got a video which is being done for Johan Thomsen. Johan, in future, and for anyone who writes in for videos to be done, could you just let us know where you're from, just so other people around the world get an idea of who's requesting what and what everyone's interested in. So Johan's asked how you remove the side skirts from these cars. In particular, he wants to know how to remove it from the door. Now, removing both parts actually takes quite a bit of time, and it's actually two separate parts, so I'm going to do it in two separate videos for you. Today's video will be purely the one removing from the door. Now, if you happen to have one of the Mitsubishi manuals, they're a really useful tool, incredibly expensive, and unfortunately not all of the detail in them is correct. Now, for instance, if you look at the page relating to removal of this particular part from the door, they'll show you to run a nylon line behind the panel and cut it off, suggesting that it's been held on by some sticky foam tape. Now, I can tell you right now that that information is correct, and if you decide to use that information to do the job, you're going to end up spending a lot of hours and doing a lot of damage to complete it. So if I grab a panel that's already been removed, you'll see exactly why you can't run a tape through it. Yes, there is the foam strip along there, but we also have I think it's 13 plastic clips and 2 bolts that hold the panel on. So whatever you do, don't try the nylon line technique unless you know for sure that for some reason your panel's been held on, unlike any other that I've ever seen. So in order to remove this panel, you're going to need a few basic tools. It is a DIY job. So you're going to need a 3/8 drive socket piece or some similar tool to undo an 8mm nut. You're also going to need some masking tape, some nylon line. Now, fishing line is perfect for this. If you can get a fishing line that's really high poundage, around about 0.8 of a millimeter thick, that'll do you fine. You're also going to need some trim tools. I like to use these quite a lot now. These I think cost me about $2. They're actually designed for mobile phones, but they're beautiful because it's a super thin tool, it has no sharp edges, and it's ideal for getting behind things. If you don't have those, something like one of these pasting blades would be fine, or a knife that's got a smooth edge. You don't want anything that's sharp that's going to scratch any paintwork. So before we start the job, I'm just going to put this out the way, because there's one final thing you're going to need, and that's a bucket of soapy water and a sponge. Now, before starting this job, we're going to clean the door, and we're going to clean it thoroughly, because you are going to be running tools down these join lines, and if there's any grit or dirt or anything that's got into there, and there will be stuff that's got into there, then you're going to end up scratching your paintwork. So before starting, we're going to give the door a really good wash. Don't use any wash and wax cleaners, because the wax may stop the tape sticking. So just a regular detergent will be fine just to clean the door. So I'm going to bring this up here, move the tools out the way. And I'm going to start cleaning. Now, you don't have to watch me do the whole clean. I'm going to cut the video and just assume that you've got the general idea. Just make sure you get right into these little creases, because this is where you're going to do the damage. By the way, I've brought this door over to do the demonstration. You do not need to remove the door. I have to make that absolutely clear. Door removal is not necessary. I've purely taken it off for this demonstration just to make it clearer for you. And once the door's fully washed, you'll need to dry it thoroughly so the tape sticks. So I'll cut the video at this point and carry on with the cleaning. Okay, so now the door's washed, and before we move on, I just want to show you something around the other side of the door. If you look at the opening side where your lock is, you'll notice there's 2 nuts down here. Now you're going to need to undo those 2 nuts. They're 8mm head, but the reason I want to especially point these out is every single one of these I've ever tried to undo has broken. Now if that should happen, don't worry, these are just a replaceable clip, and once we've got the panel off you'll see what we can do about those. So if I grab my 8mm socket piece, we can start undoing these, and already I can feel that that does not want to undo, and that's going to snap. So if it snaps, like I said, you can replace them. There's one. I'm sure there's going to be some secret I don't know of about getting these off, or maybe they've just all rusted over the years. Yeah, this one's going to snap as well. They're not reverse threads, so if they're going to snap, they're going to snap. As I say, don't worry, they are replaceable. So we'll put those out of the way. Now we can go back to the face of the door again. Now at this point, we're going to start having to remove the foam tape. Now to do that, we're going to use a combination of a smooth blade and the nylon wire. Now of course, if you try running a blade between 2 panels that are tight together, there's a chance you're going to scratch the paintwork, and the same with the fishing line. It's going to get hot as you're moving it through, so we're going to put some tape on there to make sure it doesn't get damaged. Regular cheap masking tape will do the job fine, and what you've got to do is try to cover any surface that the blade or line is likely to come into contact with. Get as tight into the crease as you can. Now this tape is very, very cheap, so you can afford to do the job properly. You don't need to cut corners or anything, trying to save a few pence. This edge doesn't really show, so it just leaves the bottom edge. Just make sure it's properly dried. It seems that there's still a little bit of moisture here, so I'm having trouble getting this to stick properly, plus it's a really cold day. So there we go, that should give us enough protection. Now if I just grab another tool. Now we're going to do this in sections. Now for me, the best place to start is along the bottom edge. And time has actually given us a bit of a break with these doors. Because the foam has now started to deteriorate with age, you can cut through it much easier. Now I'm going to use a thin, smooth edged blade, very thin, and that will allow us to get into the gap between the 2 panels. And all you're going to do is work your way through the foam. You'll feel as it cuts through the foam nice and easily, like so. And then we'll go the other way. You can see most of this is just falling apart. If you just lift the panels slightly, it gives you a bit of a helping hand in those tight spots. Then we got this side to there, and the same up this side. Right, now straight away you can see that that's lifting up for me, and that's give us a bit of a head start on the next piece. If you just get your trim tool and just try to lift this panel, usually the rivets will just pop up. It sounds a bit scary, but they are designed to clip in quite tight. Right, that one doesn't want to go, so I'll come back round here and we'll work our way along. Find the next tight spot, pop it up, and just keep going all the way along. You can see now why I put the tape there. It saves your paintwork. It really does sound quite scary, but I promise you nothing's going to happen. So we're all the way up there. That's great. So now we've got the tape cut around the bottom and sides. We've now got to lift up the tape at the top. Now it suggests in the manual you can do this with a nylon line, but if you look here, there's a nylon line I've already put in. And because the door is curved, there's no way of getting underneath that curve of the door. So the technique I use is slightly different. Because we've got a purchase already on this end that allows us to lift, I'm going to put one of the trim tools under there. And now I'm going to use a curved blade to gently find where the foam is stuck. When I reach that point, I'm going to get another trim tool under to give us a little bit more lift. And now we find the next bit of foam and carry on going along. Now at some point we're going to reach the first clip that's holding the door in, and that clip should pop up just like the bottom ones, like so. Now we'll go along a bit further, find more foam and cut along the foam. As you can see, the tape is giving us some protection as we go. Now there are special tools for popping these clips, but I find it's just as easy to use the trim tool. Keep going along, work your next one in, and away we go. A bit further along the foam, tool in, a bit further along. And we just keep on working our way along, cutting the foam as you go and popping the clips. One there that didn't go, there we go. Now don't be at all surprised, the plastic on these is very old now and getting very brittle, so you're likely to break the odd little clip, but they're fully replaceable, so don't worry too much about it. And when it comes to the one on this end, okay, And it's as easy as that. In fact, that's not too bad at all. Even that clip is reusable. We'll pop that out in a second. So Johan, I hope that covers what you needed to know. As you can see, there's no damage to the door whatsoever. You can pull the tape off. And it's a simple technique that I use. It only takes a couple of minutes. If you need to remove the old tape, because you will need to put on new tape, don't try to get away with not putting on new tape when you put the door back on. Just use a hot air gun or an infrared lamp just to warm it slightly, and then get a plastic scraper, and that will all scrape off nicely. And you can buy replacement tape. This is readily available on eBay and all sorts of other places now. There's nothing special about it anymore. And the same with the clips. Are available from Mitsubishi. There's also aftermarket ones available, the same thing for a fraction of the price, and that will allow you to put it back together. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope it's answered all your questions. In part 2, we'll remove the rest of the side skirt off the car, which is a much longer process. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you will remember to like and subscribe. It's important to get as many subscribers as possible. The more subscribers, the more requests for videos, the more I'm going to do, and I'll keep on until we've covered everything. If you're new to watching me, I hope you've enjoyed it and you'll carry on watching, and tell your friends about it as well. Lots more planned for the future, and I hope to see you on the next video.